Hello everyone, today we will be reviewing Death with Rage, a Plat 3 Rein. This review was done live on my stream, and if you're interested in getting a live review, my Twitch is linked down in the description below. This review focuses a lot on how aggressive you can be on tank, and in what situations it makes sense to be that aggressive. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, playing with a duo, I'm expecting a little bit more. I know it's in Plat and not Diamond like the last game, but when you have a duo, it's easy to communicate walls with pins. All right, super aggressive, need tips? Sweet. Being aggressive is the best way to play Rein. I'd rather you be too aggressive and then I can tell you to dial it back rather than being too passive and needing you to walk more. So starting aggressive is usually what I'm gonna recommend. If you don't know whether you're too aggressive, too passive, be aggressive and then dial it back later. 73% win rate. Yeah, so you basically just need to play more games if your win rate's that high because you'll climb. So with Rein, you haven't made any mistakes. I just want to talk about this. This is how you play all the time. You pick a corner, usually on a choke. So his Rein is doing it, you're doing it. It's very good. Where you have LOS on your supports, but it's harder for them to see you. And you just do this thing where you're just dancing around. So this is how you're going to start pretty much all the time. You're just looking to fire strike through the Rein eventually. And right now you're just swinging. You're looking for wall, basically. And normally I wouldn't say you're looking for wall. I'd say the May's looking for wall, but May is in your stack. And so May should hopefully tell you when they're going to wall. Okay. Okay, first mistake has been made. So the problem with what you're doing, it's not just pushing through the choke, it's that you want to go from cover to cover with Rein. And when you're going to push up, you're going from cover to cover. This is where you're going to go. And the problem is you just walk straight out into the open with Discord. So I don't know if you even realized it, right? You're not Discorded yet, but you're taking too much damage because you're not using cover. Your shield is not cover. Told him to wall, but he didn't. All right, it happens. If he walled, it would have been better. Even if he does wall, you really want to treat your shield as a way to get from cover to cover, not as the cover itself. And you live because your supports are good, right? Oh, you are aggressive. All right. Tell me why you died. I want you to tell me. What was the issue? Why did you die there instead of living? What's the difference between living and dying when you pin in like this? Because it's not the pin that's bad. There's something else. There's an underlying factor, a reason why you're dying here that isn't just going in, right? Going in is fine, but you skipped a crucial step. Team wasn't pushed with you? Right, but that's not exactly true, right? Your supports have LOS on you. What I'm looking for here, the problem that you're having is that you aren't waiting for your resources, right? Good Reins are always going to wait. And so what happens is the health bar wasn't that big of an issue. You were missing 100 armor, which does matter, but you're not going to wait for every 100 armor. You have no shield. So even like basically when you pin in here, you're just praying that they're not hitting their shots on you. And so you need to just wait for your resources. You can honestly not even pin here. You've already killed their Rein. You've basically won the fight. The only way you lose this fight is if you go in and feed. So you can kind of just walk up, shield off the junk, shield off the Zen, whatever. And then if it's too hot, what you can do is you can pin to cover here because their supports are always going to back up into this choke and you have LOS on your supports. Idea was good, right? Taking space, denying their supports. The idea was very good. You just didn't wait long enough. That's all it was. And right, by the time you put up your shield, by the time you realized it was too much damage, it was already too late. You had Discord and you had a Junkrat on you. And I hope your team doesn't lose this, right? Because it would be your fault. Oh, and their Rein's gonna get back. Yeah, this is gonna be tough. Okay, we're back. Thank God. That's really all you needed to do. You're not, right? They have a Widow. So a lot of people think they need a shield bot for their team when there's a Widow. Well, it is good for you to shield your team. This specific case, you did the right thing. You need to push up and you need to deny the space that their Rein wants to have here. I think they have a support dead. No, their Ana is, I don't know what's going on there. But you're just trying to keep them off the point, basically. Your team's just going to have to deal with that on their own. So far, so good this fight. You can send some fire strikes up there. Yep, just like that. Oh, no way. All right, I don't even have to tell you. You already know what you did wrong, right? Here's the thing. Every time you pin, and I mean every single time, from now on until you for the rest of time playing Rein, every time you play Rein, when you hit your pin key, I want you to know what you're pinning to, not who you're pinning. I don't care who you're going to pin. I want you to know where your point B is. So your point A is where you start your pin. So here, you're at point A. I don't care who you're going for. I want you to know where your point B is. So when you're pinning this Rein, if in your head you're like, I'm going to curve this way and hit this wall, that's a good point B, right? Because you get to cover and you're safe. If your point B is this wall, you're never pinning here because it's feeding. So again, I don't think it's bad to pin, especially if their Rein actually lives here. I think it's fine. If you have a question, you can ask, by the way. But the problem is where you're going. I need you to always know where you're going. And in Overwatch 1, it was much more important. You didn't have cancel pin. But here, you could have canceled right here. You would have been fine. I know you're, trying to get lucky, trying to hit one of these guys. But the last thing you need to do is die. Their Rein is dead. This is the second time their Rein is dead. All you need to do is live, and you win. That's all you need. Right? We find the one way to lose this fight. Now their Widow does kind of pop off here. But if we're alive, their Rein is dead. We can shield our Mei and our Ana, and they can take care of the Widow. There's nothing that Zen and Drunkard are gonna do. They'll burn your shield, but not in time. And then we would have already had the point by now. In fact, we would have already had the point twice. And again, it's not your ideas I don't like, it's your execution. You're not waiting for the right things. Yep, you see the junk trap, good. I'm fine with this rotation. The only thing I need you to think about when you're making this play is where are my supports? Are they going to be able to come with me? If your Ana is like this Ana, you have to realize this, because what's going to happen is you're going to get no healing here, and you cannot walk forward, because by the time you get in your Ana's LOS, which is here, you're dead. You're already dead. Too much damage. So you're probably just going to have to walk back around this pillar and push in from this angle, because your Ana's not one of the Anas who's right here with you. Now, if you're in a stack, let's say, and your Ana's in your stack, and you know that your Ana likes to play very close to you, this is a good path. I like this path, but it's not good right now. Hopefully you realize this. You back it up. Awesome. Your Ana made the rotation, gave you the nano. Oh boy, please don't do it. Oh no. Oh no. All right, what are we doing? You're doing so well, and then you feed every time. I don't even have anything to coach there. I hope you can see for yourself what you did wrong, right? You're doing so well. You kill their Rein, and then you throw away the lead. Okay. Happens. You're not going to hit every shatter. The thing I want to say is that this fight's already over. So the shatter, it doesn't matter if you hit it or miss it. You 100% wasted, right? Absolutely wasted. And that's just a recognition thing. It's 4v1, there's just no need. And hopefully when you're thinking about shatter, you're playing Rein v Rein, is you're kind of assuming that he gets his shatter within like 20% of when you get your shatter. And so I don't know if you do think about this or not in your games, but if you don't, you should start. I don't want you to ult track. You're a plat tank. There's so many more things you can be doing to win that aren't ult tracking. You don't need to use that much brain power yet. But in the Rein v Rein, you do want to make sure that he's not hitting big ults on your team, because you're the one that blocks it. And so when you get your ult, you're like, okay, he has his ult now, I need to block it. And so I want to look, this next upcoming fight's going to be big to see whether you realize he has shatter and whether you at least attempt to block it. You're not going to block every single shatter, but I want you to at least try. You're doing a good job walking up and taking space, not letting them on the cart, but you can just take some damage here, let your shield recharge, right? You don't want to break your shield and have full HP. That's kind of a no-no. Let your health bar go down a little bit. You have your Zen with you, and if you get in like big trouble, just pin back to your Ana. You're fine. Small little thing, not a big deal. Let your shield recharge. Yep. All right, we're looking for you to try and block shatter. That's what we want. I don't know if we just didn't realize it or we couldn't get in a position to do anything about it. The good news for you is that your team actually lives. But very, very rarely is the enemy Rein going to shatter 3 and you're going to win the fight. That's not really something that you want to let happen. And so really the only way to get around this, to like not let this happen again, is to think about it beforehand. It's not a gameplay thing in game. It's just you need to know he has shatter before you can try and react to it. Yeah, not too much to say. We can do a little better using cover so far, but it hasn't been that bad. Obviously, we've had our times where we fed, but right? The stuff I'm talking about right now is just like these little micro adjustments in your cover to where instead of walking straight down this hallway, you kind of walk down this right side, and then you walk down this left side, and then you walk down this right side. Stuff like that. But I'm not too worried about that yet. My main goal is getting you, when you're at a man advantage, to stop pinning into the middle of their team and dying. That's kind of the main goal. I'm not sure why we're gonna give up this space here. So they're on Sig. Oh, you didn't know that yet, right? Unless you're hitting tab. But what we want to do is hold the space to let the cart move, and then as our resources get lower, that's when we back up and kind of regroup a little bit. Again, not the end of the world. Oh, good wall. Unfortunate. Not good enough. Right? What happened? What did we do that we shouldn't have done? You were doing good. You were doing good. So up until you go for your pin here, you swing on him maybe once, maybe twice, and then you leave. Once he gets the mega, you're out, because it's not that you think you're gonna die in this position. You'll usually live. You won't usually die. The problem is that your supports have no LOS on you, so like the longer you stay here, the more risky it gets. Hit him once, hit him twice, he gets the mega, you're out of there, because you're not gonna kill him on your own. It is unfortunate we get antied right at the end here. Let's watch. I don't think she even threw it at you. She probably, no, she definitely did. Oh my god, look at her, dude. That's some Plat on a gameplay right there. But we don't even really need to be there, right? We don't need to be in the way of that. I'm gonna say that we're the reason our team lost that fight as well. I'm gonna make that executive decision. Let's see, everyone is still alive. Oh, she hit a huge anti, but if we live there, if we have better positioning, maybe we can block that anti, right? Because if you're here, let's say you're here, their Ana can't do this. She can't walk up on you like this and just throw anti in the middle of your team, because guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna hit her in the face with your hammer and she's gonna die. We'll say you lost that fight for your team. When you play well, you play really well. When you play poorly, you play really poorly. And you know, you made it to Plat, so you're doing something right. It's just you're not doing it enough or as frequently as you should be. I'm having a good time with this review though. There's like a lot to learn from here. Some reviews are a lot harder to get stuff out of. This one's good. Ooh, nice try. The death behind you, I just want to mention real quick, not your fault. You can't shield bot everything. The only time where you're really at fault if someone behind you dies like that is if you're holding your shield up for them like intentionally, right? And they know it, they can tell, and then you randomly drop it. So your Hanzo, or the Hanzo getting a kill on your cast, whatever, not your fault. I can't believe you don't get the I need to watch this one more time. I need to focus up. Hold up. Yeah, that thing was just not gonna die. Yeah, unfortunate. We're out in the middle of the open with no cover right now. I think the attempt at the shatter was good. If you're a little more patient, it's better, because what you can do is you can just swing around here, and it's not like they're gonna get to the next cover in time, right? So when they have a Sigma, all you really need for him to do is to drop his shield for like 1 second, right? You didn't even do that. Wait a second. All right, teaching opportunity. We found something. Good Sigmas block this. Not Plat Sigmas. I'm not going to tell you that a Plat Sigma blocks this. Good Sigmas block your shatter here, because good Sigmas know you have shatter, and what they're going to do is they're going to hold your shield, and they're going to just put it, it's instant, right? They press one button, they block your shatter. So what you need to do is you need to wait for him to use his shield or for it to break. And when he pulls it back, right? You've played Sigma before. He has a 1 to 2 second cooldown on it. That's when you shatter. And if you're a little more patient here, you just walk here and you hit 3, right? And then the Zen can't transcendence your shatter. You're more likely to get a team kill. I see your idea. Your idea is good. It just didn't really work out, right? And now it's really hard for us to get close to them. Like Ana, Zen, Hanzo, Sigma. What is our Zen doing? Hello? Wake up. Perfect. That was our first... I think that was our first really good Mei wall, and you're doing a great job of shielding off the heals here. That's exactly what you needed to do. Honestly, I didn't expect you to have the game sense to do that, so I'm pretty impressed to actually see you realize that instead of swinging on the Sigma, you go for the shield on the heals. Very good. We did it again. We did it again, right? And this time we're still gonna win the fight. We're still gonna win the fight. But look how much closer it is than it needs to be. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, we lost. Guess what? I mean, we lost this one too. Now, was it only your fault? No, right? Your team could have pushed the payload in before the tire even got to you. So like we still could have got the point. But guess what happens if you live? If you live, there's no way that your team ever loses that. And so us just pushing in on 200 HP with 300 health on our shield is again the reason we lose the fight. I'm not exactly keeping track, but I think we're at 4 fights now where we have kind of just inted in and died. So I know it sounds a little harsh, but that's really that's what we're doing, and we're really paying for it this game. Like we're paying for it a lot. Our Ana is still alive here. Maybe she pushes in the payload actually. Did I speak too soon? Oh my god, let's go. Let's go. Ana for the win. We're getting carried. Just kidding. You're playing well. You're just making mistakes while you do it. That's called Overwatch. This is a great VOD though. You picked a really good one. I hope you can see what I'm talking about, right? All of these opportunities you have to live where you die. And again, like I said, being over aggressive is good. Being too passive, you're gonna lose all of your games. Whereas this way, when you make plays, you really make plays, right? Like you've had plays that have won you fights. You just need to hold back at the end. Nice try. Nice try. You were going for the shield on the heels. It makes sense. As soon as that nano comes in, we're no longer doing that. I think you recognize that. The one thing is that you can get a pin here, and then the pin here is gonna allow that kill 100% of the time. I like the attempt to get the shield off. I would just much prefer you just pin this guy. All good though. Get some cover. Find some cover. Do not shatter. Nice. All right. Let's watch this one more time. Overhead view this time. Where does our health bar go? Slept. Discorded. Sigma behind us. Shield dead. Yeah, okay. Unfortunate. This one's not your fault. I'm not gonna put this one on you. I think you played fine. I think there's other fights that we're learning a lot more from than this one. Quick note, because I haven't said it in this stream yet, is we're doing free VOD reviews for everybody. If you guys are in the chat and you haven't signed up for a VOD review and you want one, all you have to do is !join and you'll get in queue. Right now we've got one more person signed up after Death with Rage here, and then after that we've got no one in queue. So if you want to get a VOD review, there's still plenty of time left in the stream for it. And if we get through these two and no one else is in queue, you can just do another one if you want. I mean, you don't have to. I know we're doing a lot of VOD reviewing, but I got plenty of time tonight. Great fire strike. We're looking for shatter here, and I want you to wait for the shield. Now I know that you can't hear me in game, and I know that you're probably not thinking about it, but if you shatter here again when he has shield, that's 2 shatters that a Sigma could have blocked, a good Sigma could have blocked, and better Sigmas will block. Oh my god, 2 kills with Fire Strike. I mean, you did great this fight. You don't even need the shatter. You did great. What in the world? Ooh. Aside from the miss shatter, what you're doing is fine. I think you honestly could have shattered earlier. Like here, I think you could shatter here. Although you do want to wait until you have at least 1 Fire Strike. I take it back, I lied. You don't want to shatter here. Bad timing. I do think shielding off the Bastion is the correct play, though. Nice. That was good. You actually lived, right? And when you live, you usually won the fight. There was very few fights where, or you living and then losing. It's always the fights where you kind of pinned in is the ones where you lost. Alright, your heals are shielded off behind you. They have a Torb now. They have... Okay, sweet. They don't have a Zen. So you shouldn't get punished as much for your mistakes. Okay. I like what you're doing. I want to say this is more niche. If you have a Mei, especially a Mei that you have voice communication with, you're going to want to look for pins into the walls. So usually what happens here is that if you pin their Sigma, you're feeding, you're dying, and he's not dying. If your Mei wall is right here and you pin the Sigma, it's very good. You're not feeding, you're not dying, the Sig is dying. And so swinging on him, while it's cool, Sigma has a lot of cooldowns that can mitigate this, right? Sigma can grasp, Sigma can shield, Sigma can rock you away from him. When you pin him, it cancels his grasp, it goes through his shield, it does 220, whatever amount of damage. Honestly, I'm not good with the damage numbers, but small little optimization. We can pin there and just get that kill into the wall. Let your shield regen. Back up if you need to, yep. You are dead set on holding this choke. The one thing you really got to be careful for here is your support's LOS. When things get past you, so let's say this Pharah, for instance, or let's say in another game, maybe they have a hit scan that can run through here and get up to here, your supports are naturally going to want to find cover. When people get past you, your supports are going to find cover, right? They're not going to stand out here in the open and heal you anymore. When your supports are not able to heal you anymore, you need to like learn to walk back and get back. And so, oh, your Ana made a good rotation here to save you, but I still think it's a mistake, right? When it's too hot, you can give up this choke, and you're eventually going to back up and give up to here. And this sucks a little bit because then they can get their DPS in on the off angle. But look, their DPS are in anyways. It doesn't matter anymore. So you need to learn when to give this up. A better team might just kill you here. A better team definitely kills you here. And just because you don't die doesn't mean it's not a mistake. You still die, right? There's 10 ways we could have not died there. We could have walked back early. We could have just kept holding shield here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, right? It's kind of the same mistake over and over again. We're either too far in. At least that time though, you're not putting yourself in the bad situation. You kind of let it walk up to you. You kind of let the situation come to you. It's still a mistake, but I wouldn't say it's quite the throw that you were doing earlier. It's just time to back out and group up. Honestly, I would have loved if you had just not even come out of this tunnel. Once all those people died, just run back around. Hopefully you don't die here, because that's a pretty big stagger. I think the rest of your team... Zen's getting long. No, your whole team gets close spawn. You just need to get back. How did you get a kill there? What in the world? Okay, she walks into your fire strike. All right, before we go into this fight, what is it time to think about? You might not figure it out in game, but right now in your head, right, it's time to think about ults. I don't need you to ult track. I already told you we're not worried about your ult tracking, but we're thinking at least about how we're gonna land our ult and what could negate our value from that. And so it's going to change in every game. Basically, what you need to do is you need to press tab. You need to figure out what's on the enemy team, and you need to figure out how that's going to affect what you're going to do, right? So before I tell you, let's say, what are the biggest 1 to 2 things that you need to think about before you hit shatter? Honestly, grip and sigil. Okay, yes. So the sigil, not so much. While it can kind of negate your follow-up value, you're usually going to be shattering the sig. Like unless you can get past the sig somehow and shatter the backline, and then yes, the flux is a problem. But it's really the grip. Grip is a problem. Sleep is a problem. Pedal's also a problem, right? Lifeweaver has so many tools against most tanks. So you're gonna want to either hit one of the supports in it, or basically get a shatter where the supports can't make that impact play by negating it. Hopefully what you do is you either shatter an isolated target that the supports can't get to. That's your first choice. You shatter the supports themselves. That one's always good. We love that one. Or you wait for the cooldowns and then hit the shatter. You have 3 options here. Any of them are good. I'm looking for any of those. Good retreat. Good retreat. You need to back up. You need to back up. You have no shield. You have no health bar. Okay, our team dies. We can get out, right? We can just pin back into spawn. We're good. We're fine here. We can just pin back to spawn, right? Oh, good attempt. You're gonna die for it though. Back to spawn, back to spawn, back to spawn, back to spawn. Oh, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? You were doing so good. All right, this is the first time where we're kind of piling up our mistakes. Rule number 1 of Overwatch, before everything else, is group up before you fight, right? 5v5, that's what we want. Let's say we hit the shatter. Let's see who's in our view when we shatter. Let's say we hit the shatter. We hit these 2 people. What happens, right? What happens? We shatter the sig, we shatter the Lifeweaver. You know what happens? We get maybe one of these kills. Probably not, right? We probably don't even get one of these kills. But we might be able to pin the Lifeweaver here, get a kill, and then we die. That's what happens. We're gonna die because Sigma's gonna be fine. Anna's gonna walk up here. Anna might even be able to save the Lifeweaver. She could just sleep you. Torb's gonna overload and just shotgun you in the face. Pharah turns around. So best case scenario here, you get one and die. Whereas what we could have done is just walk back to spawn, wait for our team, come back, shatter 5, win the game. All right. I'm not gonna keep ragging on you. I really do. I feel like you have a lot of potential compared to most of the people I see. It's hard to make a passive Rein play better. It's not hard to make an aggressive Rein figure out how to regroup, how to use his shield a little more. Back to spawn, back to spawn. Nice. You see, you got it this time. It was obvious this time. Okay, we're grouped up now. Oh, nice try. You know, blocking cooldowns is hard. I don't even want to tell you to try. You should try, okay? Let me make that clear. You should try. So sometimes you just get slept. Sometimes you just get antied. You want to do your best to avoid it. And as you play more, you'll get used to it. But sometimes it's just going to happen, right? Yes, good retreat. Great retreat. Your Zen... You are kind of covering for your Zen. Your Zen should be here. Not your fault. But you're doing your job, right? You're anchoring on corners. Yeah, you could have pinned him out. But just having your pin still is going to be good because you're probably going to need it to get the cover here. Your shield just broke. And it's kind of just the time to turn around and just pin back. Wow, I'm honestly really surprised you're still alive. Okay, I take it back. You're doing good. Yep. Okay, we've already been here. Good retreat. You do miss the opportunity to pin him out of here, but that's fine. And then when shield breaks, I would honestly tell you to be more cautious here. I probably would have just left. I probably would have pinned out, but it works out for you. So we're gonna go with the assumption that you know you're gonna be fine here. Like you're talking with May. May walls off basically nothing, but it feels like she walls off a lot, so you feel safe. I don't know if you realize it, you're using cart for cover here. This needs to be like a subconscious thing that you're doing. If you're doing this constantly, this is going to win you games over time. So when you're fighting here, instead of like maybe a gold Rein, let's say gold or silver Rein, I review Reins a decent amount. What they'll do is they'll just swing like this and they'll just hit this guy in the face. But if you stand here, right? Imagine they have, who's the other DPS? Far is dead. Imagine they have a soldier, or imagine they have a cast, or imagine they have a sojourn, or 90% of the DPS cast. Just you being here can prevent hundreds of damage from here. It's such a small thing. It's such a small thing, but you're doing it so well. I want you to think about things like this if you're not already thinking about it. This is the same thing as using corners, right? Instead of being here, we're here. You're doing good. I want to point out the good things you're doing too. We'll go back to here. I'll just repeat myself a little bit, right? We could hold, instead of just swinging in the air, we can just hold our shield up. Small little thing. A lot starts to happen here. And honestly, this is all you can really do, right? You're contesting the objective, you're using cover, and this is what I was talking about when you weren't paying attention, is that your cover usage here is really good. And I want you to always think about things like these. Now, you don't have LOS in your supports, but that's honestly not a problem right now because you're taking basically no damage. There's no one shooting you except Sigma, and your Ana should be able to get some amount of LOS on you. So I really like what we're doing in this fight. We're just kind of doing our job, hanging out. The only time I start to get worried is when your barrier breaks here, you go to the payload instead of away from it. I get really scared because honestly, I think I just play my life a little more than you do here. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But once your shield breaks here, you don't know how long you're going to be able to live for, right? You have Torb in your face. Far's probably not shooting you. It's scary, right? You need to realize how much damage is coming into you. If these players kind of focus on you, it's going to be very hard to live for any reasonable amount of time. And so I would just err on the side of caution, walk back. You walk forward though, which means your only option is to shatter because shattering is the only way you kill enough people to not die. Let me put it this way. If you watch Awkward's always like damage, do damage on supports. And the reason why that works, the reason why your team doesn't just fold anytime you do damage is because the enemy team has to stop doing damage to you to heal their team, right? But when they stop doing damage to you to heal their team, or like if this Torb gets weak because he's taking damage, he can't hurt you anymore. So that's what I'm kind of talking about with the shatter here, is that the shatter is going to be able to save you basically. I talked way too long about that, but you kind of get where I'm going here. You hit the Life Weaver, which is good because if you didn't hit the Life Weaver, he pulls the Torb and your shatter gets 0 value. If you hit the Life Weaver on purpose, good shatter. If you hit the Life Weaver on accident, you got lucky. Don't get lucky, be good. But you know whether you did it on purpose or on accident. Let's go. Big man with big hammer. That was a great fight for you. Honestly, there was like very little I didn't like about that fight. And if you play every fight like that, you are going to smoke this elo. It's going to be insane. We're chilling. The only thing I want to talk about here, it's not a big mistake yet, but we're losing LOS on our supports, right? We don't want to make our Ana go too far to heal us. So I know we're hanging out on this left side of cart, but we want to be kind of hanging out here. Hopefully we don't linger too long here. Again, not a big thing. We can always just walk back. But the left side is not good cover because it's hard for your supports to heal you. That's why you'll see good tanks be on the back or on this corner because they need LOS on their supports. Small little thing. All right, let's get into the actual mechanics of this fight about what's going on. I almost said it before it happened. For the next 5 seconds, I'm going to pause the music. I want you to just focus on what you're hearing in your headphones or your speakers right now. because it's important. I want you to think about what's happening behind you and not just what's happening on your screen. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to shut up so you can actually listen, all right? All right, you can hear it, right? It's the Ana who's just spraying into your ass, basically. And now the damage is not the problem, right? We're not worried about how much damage an Ana can do to us. We should be getting healed. The problem is that this is the problem, right? You see the problem. I wish the health bar got bigger as I zoomed in on you. But if the Ana can shoot us, the Ana can also nade us or sleep us. And guess what happens if we get slept or nade here? We die, right? Exactly what happens. And so you could have actually prevented that without even seeing the Ana, just by knowing what's going on behind you, using your sound cues. The pin was great. A couple follow-up hammer swings, I'm fine with it. As soon as the Ana starts pumping into your backside, you're shielding, you're finding a corner, you know, you get it. And to be fair, your reaction time after you got naded was on point. That was some good stuff. But you need to be preemptive about it. If you're preemptive, then you're gonna live there. You're gonna live to fight another day. And you'd rather let the Sig live, and that means you live, rather than try and kill the Sig if it means you die. You don't want to trade 1 for 1, right? You don't want to trade your life for a Plat player's life. You're better than that, right? You can do better. All right, maybe one more fight, maybe 2 more fights. We'll see. I mean, they have 2.5 minutes. If you do well, you can hold here for a while. Great positioning. This is where you want to be. Just sit here and anchor. This is awkward. Let's watch this again. This is really awkward, actually. Let's try and get a better view of what's happening here. Yuck. This is so gross. I need to watch this one more time before I say anything stupid. We're doing a good job at occupying the attention. Okay, I don't think any of that's your fault. I've watched it 3 times now. So the Sigma rocks you, basically, he starts the rock in the air, so it's going to be harder for you to react to this. And you're right to just ignore the Sigma. When he's up in the air, right, what are you going to do to him? Nothing. So you focus on, you know, cutting off his support or cutting off the DPS so that the DPS can't follow up on the ult. So far, so good, right? At this point in the fight, so far, so good. Still good, still good, still good. And then what happens here is this accretion. We start our fire strike at the wrong time. Honestly, let's call this bad RNG for the first time. I don't like to blame things on luck, but the fact that he gets his rock on you here allows the sleep, which allows the anti, which might be the death of us. No, we're fine. Okay. I gave you a long-winded speech about how you're gonna die, and then you didn't even go below 300 HP. You're doing a great job surviving here and holding space. You're making it hard for them to do anything. Perfect. I was praying you were going to shatter. Your May waste or freeze. Okay, great fight for you. Again, you're actually doing the thing, dude. You're rocking out right now. I love it. Fight every fight like the last 2. You're literally smurfing. All right, we're in their spawn though. We're in there. All right, we get the kills though, and we get our team out, right? Beautiful stuff. You know, watching a good Rein play, it's kind of like someone reading poetry to you. It's just like satisfying in a way that's hard to describe. I don't know if that made any sense. All right, you're owning. You got to be careful though, because we did this at the beginning where you were owning and then we just got too aggressive. I'm going to make a quick note. The reason you're doing so good, you're not even playing that differently than the first round. The reason the first round didn't work is because they had a Zen. So your playstyle is pretty similar. It's been almost the same. The thing is that you don't want the enemy hero team the enemy hero comp to decide how successful or unsuccessful you're going to be, right? So if they have a Zen, it's going to be easier for them to punish your really aggressive play. They have a Life Weaver who's probably not doing any damage to you, and that's why your aggressive play is working so well. So I want you to notice things like these in game. If they have a Zen, you're going to need to be a lot more patient. If they have a Life Weaver, you can do this. You can just get in their face and you'll be okay. All right, you're good enough to be okay. I had to jinx it. I had to jinx it. You almost got the block too. Unfortunate, it happens. Could we have prevented it? Yes, we absolutely could have. But you were the reason your team won the last 2 fights. So we'll give you a slight break, right? As long as you realize what happened. We walked too far out without cover. We can't rely on our shield that much. Nice pin. Oh boy. I'm getting deja vu. What in the world? Okay, you're doing good. You're holding your shield. You're trying to cut off the support. The only thing we could do better here is we could just swing a little bit sooner when the if an Ana is in your hammer range, your hammer's on her face. Basically, is what I'm saying. There's a few exceptions, but not really. That's basically how it goes. And this is what I talked about in the first round, right? When you know how you died that one fight and Ana literally just walked at your team, threw a nade, and won the fight for them. It's much harder for her to do that this time. Right? And she does it because she's Plat and she doesn't want to be gold. She doesn't want to be diamond, right? She wants to be a gold Ana. So she does stuff like this. And you force out 2 cooldowns because of her bad positioning. Just by you being in the right place, swinging your hammer at the right time. So far, so good. I would like to see a pin attempt at some point, right? Right, we have buttons we can press. I'm not saying you need to force a pin. I'm saying if you see an opportunity, pin is how you get a lot of kills. Pin is a great way to just take someone out of the fight instantly. Ooh, 1 swing too many, right? Let's watch this again. Let's slow it down. Our shield's about to break. We're kind of forced to make a play, right? What was our mistake? We can use cover better. That's what it is. And this is a micro adjustment, right? This is some small thing you can do to actually turn a fight. Literally all you need to do is play here instead of here. Here instead of here. Tree goes up. Just play next to tree. Why is it good? Because 1, your supports are still going to be able to see you. You moving one foot to the left is not going to make your supports not able to see you. So all it does is blocks LOS on these people. So if these people want to do something to you, oh boy, now they have to come in here. And guess what happens if they come here? You put your big hammer right in their face and they die. Okay. And so we hang out a little too long. That's all it was. A little tiny thing, and we take a little bit too much damage. I won't say this was not a very big mistake. This is one that could happen to anybody, could happen to GM players. Do we get a touch here? Wish that was your tree. Yeah, that would have been nice, right? I will say that the fact that you know how to jump around a corner and pin just got you on the point. If you didn't know how to do that, you wouldn't have gotten on the point. Unfortunately, I know that you lose this fight because I know there's an overtime. But if you had messed this up in any way, you don't touch point here. So good on you for this. And now there's not a whole lot to talk about here. You stay on the point, you shield when you're low, and you swing your hammer when you can. That's all you can do. Exactly. That's all you could do. And we're gonna lose this. But I mean, we've been playing well. We're the only reason our team even got this far. But guess what? We're also the only reason their team got this far, or the only reason we didn't get farther faster. Right? We have 2 minutes on the clock. We could have had 5. All right. I don't feel like I need to go over anymore. I hope you got enough out of this. Right? I'll give you a little recap here. Number 1 thing, and it only came into effect on the attacking side, is that you were just too aggressive when they have a team that can punish you for it. Junk, Zen, and Ana. Wow, it sucks. So you're gonna have to be more passive, right? In the second half, it's a lot better. Another thing besides just the being aggressive thing, right? Because that is your number 1 thing. That's gonna win you the most games, is realizing how aggressive you can be. It's gonna be based on a lot of factors. That's why game sense is so hard to master. That's why there's so many ranks and such a big skill gap. A small thing, not a small thing. A mechanical thing, a not game sense thing that you can do is getting more value from your shatter. You had a couple good ones, and you had a couple that worked that shouldn't have, right? So you shattered Sig twice when he could have shielded it off. So let's say that your win rate is currently 70%. Let's say you keep climbing, you get into diamond, you get into high diamond. You're a diamond 2 Rein now. You're playing against Sigma. Sigma is going to be good enough to block your shatters, and then all of those shatters are not getting any value. So you're going to want to wait, like these small things, right? If they have an Orisa, you want to wait for the Fortify before you shatter. If they have a Sig, you want to wait for him to pull back his shield before you shatter. If they have a Rein, you want to try and block his shatter and try and hit your shatter on him. And it's not just mechanics, you just need, it's something you need to think about before you use it, right? You can't just press Q because you want to shatter 5, you have to think about it. So